Just give me a...
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode and another season of the Good Anime Palette Podcast. This is episode number 109, where we are talking about our anime series adaptation primer number 10. Joining me, as always and as usual, is Will, and I am your other co-host, Jason. How are you doing, my man?
Not bad, not bad. Hopefully everyone stuck around. I know that I made an announcement at the end of Season 9, but as you can hear, I'm still around, still alive and kicking, and ready to kick things off with Season 10. So, ASAP, this is the 10th iteration, so I'm sure you guys already know the format of this. We pick 3, 4, maybe 5 manga series that we know will be getting anime adaptations in the coming year. So we will be sort of previewing what to expect of the upcoming anime adaptations, as well as just sort of giving everyone a 2 cents in terms of why they should be watching or reading these particular series. So this time around, we still got 4 series we'll be going over, most of which will be releasing in the next year, some even in the next season, I believe. Most of these were chosen by Jason because Jason's the manga guy. But for the most part, these ones, whether or not you have the patience to wait for the anime to come out or just want to get straight into reading the manga and preempt yourself as the season drops, this is your go-to. This is the source of all that is great, all that is mighty. So,
All right.
how are we going to start things? Do we go by the order that's on the docket?
Yeah, let's go by the order. Either we go... Okay, the last one that we should talk about is...
Let's not say it on there, but I
Okay.
know which one we're talking
Okay,
about last.
that one has to be last. The other 3 can be of your choosing, Will.
Okay, cool. So, to kick things off, You and I are polar opposites, based on the completed manga series of the same name, written and illustrated by Kocha Akasawa. Original run of May the 2nd, 2022 through to November 25th, 2024. 8 volumes in total. Now, for the English side, 5 volumes are out, with the 6th one to be released on August 5th of 2025. So, in about 2 months from now. The English was published by Viz Media. Now, there are a ton of awards and nominations and accolades that You and I are polar opposites have won. So, 3 years ago, back in 2022, it was nominated for the Next Manga Awards in the Web Manga category, and it came second out of 50 nominees. It was also ranked 34th of the Book of the Year 2022 list by Da Vinci Magazine. Ranks 9th in the 2023 version of that's a long word. Takarajimasha's Kono Manga ga Sugoi, or check this manga out. This manga's cool. This manga's great. This manga's sick.
This manga's awesome.
Yes. It was listed in a list for the best for male readers.
The series also ranked 3rd in the 16th Manga Taisho Awards, and it ranks 7th in the 7th edition for 2024.
Let's just say that there were a lot of things that this series has been nominated for. Now, the manga is scored pretty decently, 7.81, which I think is pretty damn high. Popularity 1,107. I only expect this to grow over time, simply because this is a relatively young series, and it also only ran for a short time. A 2.5-year run is a good amount for a manga, especially since I think that with these kinds of stories, you don't necessarily want to
overstay your welcome. Yeah, for sure.
So, just to sort of give some background information in terms of when to expect or what to expect for the anime adaptation, it will be coming out projected for winter 2026, so January of next year. So it's still quite a while. You got another half year to go, but that's why you have this primer. That's why you can go read the manga whilst you wait for the anime to come out. It will be produced by Lappentrack, who is also known of doing the Shosoben series, both season 1 and season 2, that came out in the last year, as well as Undead Girl Murder Farce, which was a fucking wacky show that came out in the middle of 2023. So, to sort of give a quick synopsis, 2 characters, both in high school, Miyu Suzuki and Yusuke Tani. What's there to know about them? Well, one's a gyaru-ish ditzy girl. The other one is essentially what's that series of the high school kid with the glasses,
The Heart.
Yeah, well, there's elements of Dangers in My Heart. There's elements of a lot of these kinds of high school comedies, high school romances,
Komi Can't Communicate type of scenario.
Yeah. So, as the title of this manga says, they're fucking polar opposites. One does not speak. One speaks a fuck ton. In fact, sometimes way too much. One kind of wears their feelings on their sleeve. The other one hides it under their shirt.
One has pink hair and the other one has black hair. And the only reason why I know that is because in the trailer she has pink hair. So there you go.
Yep. So introvert meet extrovert, blunt meets dull. It's kind of you're in a situation where you're kind of just looking at two characters who realistically should never exist in the same stratosphere. But what sets this series apart is, those opposites attract kind of series where like I'm the
jock.
I'm the jock. I don't talk to anybody that's lower than me. But why is this cute girl who's sitting on her own in the library? Why am I attracted to her? Oh, I'm the heiress of this big media corporation. I don't sit next to any common folk except. Why is that ugly boy so attractive to me? I do say there's something intriguing about this character. No, it's not one of those. Because right from the get-go, the relationship is pretty much established.
In like chapter 1.
Halfway through chapter 1, it's very clear that Tani and Suzuki like each other. Now, do they know they like each other? For the most part, yes, they do. And this is why I think when reading this, it was very clear that I was going to enjoy this a little bit more than the standard will they, won't they kind of high school romance.
Because it's always a trope, right? Or will they, won't they? Or, hey, they get together at the finale at the end of the season. But no, this is the opposite.
So now you're wondering, well, if they already established the relationship from the beginning, well, then what meat is there on these bones? What's the point in sticking around and trying to learn more about this already confirmed romance? Well, as you may know, just because the fact that they do like each other doesn't mean they know how to tell each other they like each other. They go on walks after class, but whether or not they should hold hands, who knows? But hey, I like you, so maybe I should, but I don't know you like that. And the other person says, well, I don't, but I know you do, so we should hold hands. Oh my God, he's reciprocating. Why is this dumbass not saying what everyone wants to say? But that's also why I really like him. That's why he's so cute. That's why I'm infatuated with him. And the other stoic, dull boys like, I guess I like you too, but I don't know what liking someone means. So can you teach me what it means to like somebody?
So
Oh, you're so cute. Oh, are you calling me a dog? No. It's a term of endearment, but you only say cute to things like puppies and teddy bears. Why are you saying it to me? It's like, and then you start realizing that this guy is socially inept and he can't read the room. It's almost kind of like, I don't want to start throwing in like,
but he's genuine. He's genuine.
Yeah.
And he's even though he is blunt, he is also just a very good friend. And I think one of the reasons of why it is not a spoiler to say they get together in like the very early, like probably like within the first episode of the anime or the first half episode of the anime, they will get together. So it talks about obviously the journey after. It talks about the interactions they have with each other and their friends.
Yeah. So for the most part, whilst they do lay out the relationship pretty black and white from the beginning, the main crux of it is not so much how they navigate their relationship together, but rather how they fear others will perceive their relationship and in itself perceive the individual. Whether or not this girl, who's supposedly very,
boisterous
and very loud and very much like extroverted, what would happen if she's being seen around with, someone who is very much on the opposite sides of the spectrum, just does not really talk to anybody, and when he does, he keeps it short, keeps it simple, and then walks away. And then on the other side, Tani, the boy, is now wondering, well, I do like her, but I also don't want to bring down her social standing by being around her. What do I do? How do I show my love for her, even though I feel that people might look down on her being with someone like me? And it's that in itself starts like the real plot of this story. Not so much whether or not they'll get together. It's more, how the fuck do they stay together?
Yeah. And the thing that I also like about this is that it reminds me of Skip and Loafer in that it's just, everyone is just very nice. Everyone is very positive. They might have flaws, but the manga is played, or it's illustrated in such a way that it looks very wacky. It looks, I know this sound a little derogatory. The anime style is unique to the point it reminds me a little bit of like Looney Tunes. It has that aesthetic because you know how like when there are moments in anime where they turn into a chibi form during like a comedic beat, and then they go back to like, I guess, their regular form, as in the way that it is expressed. Well, this has it in all sorts of manners, at least the manga is. And there's just so many weird kind of cutesy art style popping out, and everyone is just very supportive, I think.
If people need like another sort of point of comparison, imagine Dan to Dan, but there's no conspiracy theories or ghosts, and the two main characters actually just genuinely like each other
and are together.
Yeah, that in a nutshell is what You and I Are Polar Opposites is. Which I don't want to make it derivative.
I know,
but like
it does. You're right. It does, right? Like for example, take I guess you could say it is Suzuki's like really good friend Yamada, right? That is like I guess because it's black and white, he has like maybe gold hair. He looks like a delinquent. He maybe acts like the popular kid, the jock, if you will. But actually, he's just a little bit of a comedian rascal.
He's just a bro, dude.
And he just sometimes is just kind of dumb too, like a bro, like a frat bro. But when you need him, he's like,
I know a lot of smart frat bros.
Yeah, me too.
I know what you mean. I know you're talking about the stereotypical like
like
keg stands and smashing beer cans
like
in your
bro.
head. Yeah.
No, but the whole point of this is I think one of the main pillars of this show and this manga and what will be the anime is just because you are of a certain archetype does not define you as a stereotype and does not define you as who you can hang out with or who you could be with. Because at the end of the day, we're all just people with flaws and with everything, bearing it all. So it doesn't really matter. As long as you guys like each other, it's all cool, right?
Yeah. So as much as this is like a romantic comedy, one thing I think this series kind of really elevates is not so much the focus on the relationship of the two characters, but more like a big societal issue that we have in terms of who you associate with, and it's social status, in the sense that because you are of a certain ilk, the way that you interact, the friend circle that you have, therefore like you really should not be interacting with people of this subgroup or that subgroup. And the inverse is the same. Because I'm in this specific small subclass, what would happen if the main character that I like is also surrounded by people who are completely opposite of who I am?
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, like, do I do anything that would potentially ruin their image or bring down their reputation? It's one of those things where I think kind of boggles down a lot of people in not just like romantic relationships, but like platonic ones too.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have friends of all sorts, but if you watch enough of those American high school movies and TV shows, there are cliques.
Yeah.
There's always going to be jocks. There's always going to be goths. There's always going to be nerds. There's always going to be, the
cheerleaders.
There's always going to be the scholarship types. There's going to be the ones that like are on the debate team and whatnot. And it's very stereotypical, of course. But like, you're also doing a series set in high school. You're going to be tapping into those stereotypes. And what's good about You and I Are Polar Opposites is that they kind of set the stereotypes as bare bones as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is essentially the stepping stones to creating the archetypes of these characters, but we're not going to make them complete assholes either.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, and the assholes thing, by the way, applies to not just the so-called stereotypical jocks who are social higher standings. It applies to everyone, including one of the nerds, I guess, who's part of this, I guess, group of characters who is just really judgmental, but he is kind of like Tani in that he is very withdrawn. And it's just really interesting that, hey, surprise, surprise, when people talk things out, they solve a lot of bullshit, and this is no different. And it's just really comforting to see how it also makes sense why this is so popular. Because I feel like these are relatable issues. They talk it out. They solve the relatable issues, and they just get along their merry ways and be lovey-dovey with each other. Or all the friends are just like, oh, we got that figured out. All right, let's go to the arcade and hang out now. That kind of thing. Rather than making this melodramatic kind of, oh my God, will they, won't they? Or I should really do this and that and have this internal struggle. Sometimes those are very good plot devices, but sometimes it's just refreshing to be like, hey, yo, Will, I feel kind of shitty today. Can we just chill at home?
Sure. Okay.
All right.
Done. One other thing I really like about this manga series, which I hope they really do hone in on and cast the right people for it, I really like Goto-san, the social studies teacher, simply because he looks like Ron Swanson from Parks and Recs. And I think that is pretty awesome. I do like that.
Oh, I'm looking at it now. Dude has a mustache.
You've never seen Parks and Recs before? I mean, I never.
No, I've seen Parks and Recs. I know Ron Swanson.
He's got the eyebrows too.
Yeah, he does. He has the thick eyebrows for sure. He has that archetype down pat, but I don't know if he knows Japanese though.
And I don't know if Goto knows English.
So
but he definitely knows social studies.
He definitely knows social studies. So, Will, now that we have sort of talked about how we feel, what do you think it will do in terms of the anime? Like, do you see it really changing the landscape? Because there is a trailer out, and there probably will be another trailer out. Sorry. But I can say that the trailer is very colorful. And it really does remind me of not only the cover of the manga, but just how expressive the manga really is. I cannot begin to really... I mean, you have to Google... panels to really know what I'm talking about, but they really kind of take a wacky approach to rather not only in the way they do things, in the way they talk, but also in the way that the art is expressed. And I think that some of it is lost a little bit in the anime adaptation, but most of it is retained, and I'm really happy for it, to be honest.
I think it's gonna do fine. I think it's gonna be one of those 7.5, 7.6 shows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less, a little bit more. There's always going to be a standard deviation. But like notably throughout like the last couple of years, I feel that high school romances tend to stick the landing. They do what is literally on the can.
Yeah.
Right? It's
like
got
Blue
comedy,
Box, right?
It's got romance. Blue Box is different because Blue Box is like
Real
uber romantic.
Yeah.
And uber dramatic, but without being like super backstabby like drama
like
levels.
it's dramatic but not melodramatic.
It's dramatic because these are young kids in love and they want to explore their relationships, but like there's always certain things holding them back.
Like sports.
This one there's not much really holding them back outside of their own insecurities.
Yes. And they don't spend like 15 fucking hours figuring it out. They just talk it out and then figure it out.
Yeah, it gonna happen because it's already happened. The thing for them is, what are they going to do when they encounter situations that are socially awkward? Just simply because the fact that the dynamic they have between the two is already really awkward.
Yes, it is.
Right? Like one specific panel, and this is in the first volume as well, so I don't really mind spoiling it. The cute analogy I was saying, right? When she was talking about cute and how he's saying that she's saying that he's cute. Every time he hears that word, he just keeps thinking about puppies. And so, like, cute to puppy makes sense. But cute to me, what? What is she saying? What is she?
Yeah, because for him, the logic doesn't compute. It's not rational. Like, he's like, okay, I think puppies are cute. because they are, because people say they are, and I think that's the case. So if she says I'm cute and puppies are cute,
So is she doting me? Is she trying to be sweet? Is she like, does she want to pet me on the head? What's going on? And then for her, it's like, bro, I just mean you're cute. What are you talking about?
like chill, bro. Like you're adorable, and then she blushes, and then it's just like, oh, okay, that's the end of the chapter, you know. So it's just really nice and calming. Is it gonna shake up the industry? Is it gonna rock the boat? No, but it's gonna be a good show.
I feel like it's you remember I Have a Crush at Work?
Yes.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's gonna be like that,
except high school instead of
and they're not
working. Yeah,
and it's
they're
like,
working towards each other's hearts.
And at the same time, it's like, yes, they establish a relationship, but like they can't be seen at work, or they don't want people to see them at work in the relationship. This one is more like, okay, I think people are catching on that we're in a relationship. How do we play it cool?
No. Everyone knows they're in a relationship, but they're trying to play it cool. That's the difference. Like everyone is just like, I know you guys are together, guys. Like just act normal.
Yeah, it's like in the first fucking chapter, they're just like walking after class, and like Suzuki kind of does that thing where like she wants to hold his hand, but like pulls away. But like as she pulls away, she brushes against his hand, and then Tiny's like, do you want to hold hands? Okay, let's hold hands.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
And then she freaks the fuck out and gets super happy.
We're getting there. Okay, cool. Let's just play it cool. We'll take it easy. The next day. So you like Suzuki, huh? What? How did you know? It's like shenanigans ensue. It's simple. It's heartwarming in the sense that like you just want to see two goofballs try and figure out what a relationship is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the panel right now on the digital. It's just like how they find out is, oh, those two are going out, and then that's it. That's literally it. That's how it goes. It's so much dumb. Like, it's just that simple.
It is
guys.
much dumb. Yes.
You know what? Suzuki will probably say it like that.
And Tiny will probably hear it like that.
Yeah.
From her. So, does it get a recommendation? Yes. I think that having watchable or readable rom-coms is kind of at a premium, simply because a lot of times when you come across a rom-com, it's never going to be like
a simple ordeal.
Yeah, it's always going to be like, will they, won't they? Oh, like they're so close to it. It's like the Blue Box should really be called Blue Balls.
Yeah. Yes.
Because, dude, like, after 20 fucking volumes and you still don't say anything, but it's painfully clear that you guys are in love, what the fuck?
Hey, friends don't always win. That's all I gotta say. But the point that I'm trying to make is, You and I Polar Opposites also ends in 5 volumes. So realistically speaking...
Oh, they do it perfectly there, yeah.
It'll probably just mean maybe 1.5 curs or 1 cur, and then because it's so fast to read through, but also it's just very simple to flip through, and it just feels like very breezy, easy read. And I don't mean easy read as like a negative, as in like it just feels very heartwarming and nice to read and comfortable.
It doesn't tug at your heartstrings in the sense where it's like they finally have that big milestone and it's like, yes, they finally hold hands. Oh my god, it's so sweet. No, they do it in the first fucking chapter, and then afterwards you have to figure out whether or not they actually know how to navigate a relationship. That's essentially it. So don't expect like Kaguya-sama levels, kind of like, oh, like mind games. Oh, like I'm gonna make you admit that you like me first before I do, because I will die before that ever happens. No, it's more just like, fuck, everyone knows we're in love. Shit, I might die of embarrassment, but maybe this is what he wants. So I shouldn't die yet. What should I do?
No, I think that's literally something that happened. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like that kind of childish plus maturing plus just wholesomeness that just really makes this a very good manga to read and probably a very good anime.
Yeah. Like, oh, you guys are dating? Cool. All right. Inside. Fuck! They know we're dating. Oh my god, fuck. What do we do? You want to hold hands? Okay, fine. Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. It's just like, okay.
And they'll just forget it, right? So you said that it would be like a 7.5, right? Roughly on my anime list.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very good bet. I just think this is a really good manga and a really good show, and I've said that like 2-3 times already, and there really isn't much else to say about it. Anything you want to end on, Will?
We can move on to the next one. I do want to switch the order, though.
Mhm.
I do want to put this one third on the list.
So let's move on to
City, the animation.
So
The manga itself is just called City, capitalized. Written and illustrated by Keiichi Awari, who is also the mangaka for Nichijou. It began serialization in 2016, September, in Kodansha's seinen manga magazine Morning. It was published in English by Vertical Inc. from March 27, 2018 through to January 25th, 2022. Published in total in like 13 volumes. So the manga has a 7.9, ranked 1024, popularity 2439. Expect that number to grow. It's popular enough and well liked enough that it just made sense that the manga would get adapted. Which, to be fair, by the time this episode comes out, it should be right around the corner. It should be coming out on July 5th, 2025. So right bang on for spring 2025. And this is the key.
July 7th.
July 7th, yeah. And this is the key. It will be done by Kyoto Animation.
And it is the studio's first non-sequel anime in 6 years, even though I would say it kind of is a sequel, because if you like Nichijou, the City, the animation is written and illustrated by Kishi Arari, which also did City. So there you go. Published in English by Vertical, with 13 volumes already out, published from 2018 to 2022. So, when you hear Kyoto Animation, first of all, when you hear Kyoto Animation and you hear Nichijou, and you should know what's up. It's just that simple. The plot of the City, or City the Animation, makes no fucking difference whether we tell you what's it about, because it literally just follows, in essence, a bunch of citizens in a city. That's
called City.
Called City. And if you think that's funny, well, good for you, because that's basically the type of humor that you would expect from Nichijou and also from City. I don't know what else to say other than this is slapstick humor at its finest, and this is it is just Nichijou. It's just Nichijou.
So Nichijou follows like an ensemble of students who essentially have way too much time on their hands and let their imagination run wild. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They can essentially pet cats, and those cats will turn into robots. Or you could essentially release a sonic boom and just completely total a whole city. No questions asked. Best Sakuga moments of Nichijou. Or you could also just have a robot who tries not to be a robot and is reminded she's a robot, and she was developed by a child scientist.
And also no one cares that she's a robot, but okay.
Yeah. So that's what Nichijou is. There is a slight opposite to City in the sense that these are adults. Well, adult-ish. I can't really tell how old they are. As long as they, the fact that they are able to pay their own rents and have jobs, there's a difference there. The difference, of course, being that whilst Nichijou was free-spirited, free-minded young kids, now these are adults who don't necessarily have the luxury to just go on fun adventures. They have to work, but work sucks, and they don't want to work. But if you don't work, you don't get money. You don't get money, you can't pay rent. So how do you get money? Well, let's come up with some nefarious little tasks to be able to swindle money out of people. But that's a bad thing, right? Who cares? I just need a couple hundred yen right now. So I'm going to do whatever I can to get that money. And that's the premise, at least from the get-go, for City.
So the thing about City is, just like with Nichijou, they introduce a cast of characters and then it's just shenanigans. It's not like there is necessarily a through line. There is a through line. Like, for example, like the main two female characters is Midori and Ayumu. And they are essentially like sophomores and freshmen, I think, in university or something like that. and they are part of. Oh yeah, and also Wako Izumi. They're part of the Mont Blanc trio. So essentially, just like there's a trio of students in Nichijou that are kind of quote unquote the main character, there's kind of quote unquote the main the main three characters, the main trio in City. However, if you watch Nichijou, you would know it has very little to do with those three characters, and it's just excuse to put them in very awkward, funny, wacky situations. There is an early shtick about noodles in a bag that is really dumb. Like, so dumb. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how dumb, but it was kind of funny. And I think earlier on there was, like, someone losing money for rent, and then a bunch of stuff happened, and hilarity ensues. I think this is the easiest analysis that we can give, which is, do you like Nichijou? Do you like Kyoto Animation?
Basically, this is Nichijou, and the main characters grew older, but they didn't grow up.
Yes. And they're not actually... I don't know if they're in the same universe, but they're technically not the same people.
Yeah, so like it's essentially just the analogy. I'm not saying that like Nichijou and City are connected. They aren't of the same canon lore, but you could tell that you're watching City simply through the animation quality and the character designs, because there really is no difference in terms of how the character looks from City versus Nichijou.
Well, the thing that I would like to say is that the trailer does make it look really, really sharp. Like there's a lot of color. There is a lot of like thick, highlights, like lines and stuff like that. Like,
I think the main difference is the fact that Nichijou came out 14 years ago.
Yeah, that is very, very true. There is that. But
vibrant for sure.
Vibrant for sure, but at the end of the day, this is very much that. That's it.
If you're a Nichijou fan, you'll probably be a City fan. In terms of giving it like a preemptive score, again, I don't really like doing these simply because, like, one, I'm usually wrong, but two, it just isn't fair, especially since there's no actual anime out yet, despite the fact that like it's literally just around the corner. So we'll all find out in a couple weeks. I think that this will probably be like in the middle of like a 7.5 through to like an 8, simply because I think the fandom of the Nichijou series should be able to carry over some of the diehard fans into City.
I think it will start out as an 8 and then drop to like a 7, 8.
Yeah. There's going to be enough hype from the fans of Nichijou to carry over into City, but whether or not City will be able to keep up the allure of watching something that is from the same creator, that's to be seen.
Yeah, I think the more appropriate question is not whether or not this is a good anime or a good manga, and it's whether or not, well, Nichijou has existed for how long you said ago?
The anime dropped in 2011.
Right. So the real question that we should be asking, or listeners should be asking themselves, is, can the comedy slap like it did back then? And we don't know, honestly. For me, I think it should be fine, but I think Nichijou is a really good comedy that is a big hit and miss, and I think with City the animation, it is no different. There were going to be some gags in there that will rock your socks off, and then there'll be gags that'll be like, is that it?
I will say one thing that's not necessarily it's kind of like a saving grace, but it's also kind of plot armor for City the animation. It's Kyoto Animation, man. Kyoto Ani historically has never made anything bad. I think the worst thing they ever made was like an adaptation of something from the Tsuruneverse, and that was still a 7.3.
Right.
Generally, you can expect a Kyoto Ani production to be good.
Yeah, and that's why, even though we said earlier it's the studio's first non-sequel anime in 6 years, technically it kind of is like a spiritual successor. So it's like a technicality. But the point is, Kyoto Animation hasn't done a lot in a while.
I mean, outside of like your Sound Euphoniums, your Sarunes, your Violet Evergardens, your Kobayashi's Dragon Maids, like every one of those is like sequel upon sequel upon sequel, and then like, oh, there's a movie for Sound Euphonium coming out in 2026. Da 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 da. So it's nice to at least see that there's going to be something new
ish, right? All right. Will, I think that wraps up our first half, right?
Pretty much. It's a little bit on the short side, but I think with these these primers, the reason why they tend to be short, we can't really go that deep into the plots of things. Not to say that there's a lot of plot to be spoiled for You and I Are Polar Opposites as well as City Animation. It's very clear cut.
Yeah, I think the next two though
those ones are going to be a little bit careful in terms of how we talk about them.
I think for one of them, if we want, we can have a spoiler section.
We could. We don't have to.
Do you want to take a break, or do you want to move on?
Let's just go straight into it.
Sure.
It's only been like half an hour.
Oh shit! I didn't even keep tabs.
34 minutes specifically.
All right, Will. What's our next show or anime?
This
manga?
one is not necessarily anything new, simply because there was already I suppose a loose live adaptation of it. All You Need Is Kill by let me pull up this. All You Need Is Kill. It's a completed sci-fi light novel of the same name by Hiroshi Sakurazaka, with the illustrations done by Yoshitoshi Abe of Habene Renmei and Serial Experiment Lane fame. So, published on December 18, 2004. It was also published in English by Viz Media. And All You Need Is Kill was nominated for the Best Japanese Long Work category at the 36th Seiun Award back in 2005. Now, when I brought this up saying that, like, this is something that you may or may not know, the reason being is there was already a live adaptation of it done, a loose adaptation done, known as The Edge of Tomorrow, starring Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. So that movie came out a long time ago, actually. Edge of Tomorrow came out back in 2014. So 11 years ago. Yes, 2014 was, in fact, 11 years ago. It wasn't just yesterday. But we're not talking about Edge of Tomorrow because, funny enough, despite this manga coming out a long time ago, and then the light novel came out a long time ago, and then the manga adaptation came out in 2014, so around the time when the Edge of Tomorrow came out. Funny enough, now, fast forward 11 years, we're also going to be getting an anime version of All You Need Is Kill. So,
it's an anime film, going to be produced by Studio 4 Degrees, or 4C, executive produced by Warner Brothers Japan, and directed by Kenichiro Akimoto, who did essentially the Berserk, the Golden Age arc movies. And he also was the CGI director for Children of the Sea. And what was said, there's a teaser trailer out for it right now. The film is, they've already said, is a retelling of the story, but from another point of view from the original novel and the American film adaptation. So there's that. Will, what do you think of the manga adaptation of All You Need Is Kill?
So, y'all know Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you guys know. Imagine you wake up, you do your thing, something terrible happens. Fuck. I wish I could go back in time. You wake up. It's the same day all over again. But the bad thing keeps happening and happening and happening. And you got to wonder, why am I subjected to this purgatory? Why can't I move on? Why am I forever stuck in this loop?
And welcome back to another season and another episode of the Good Anime Palette Podcast. This is episode number 109. And then all of a sudden, Will, you, I don't know, get into an accident or you pass out. Then all of a sudden, hey, welcome to another episode and another season of the Good Anime Palette Podcast. This is episode number 109, season 10. It's essentially like that. That is All You Need Is Kill. It is set in the backdrop of a world where aliens are overtaking Earth, and Earth needs to fucking fight these aliens away.
Yeah. So, it's a very short manga series. I can't even really call it a series. It's only
It's
two
two volumes.
right? So it follows the perspective of Keiji Kuriya, who is a new recruit for the UDF, for the United Defense Force. So similar to how, if you've watched Edge of Tomorrow, yes, in the original light novel and manga series, these recruits, or the people who work within the UDF, all have these powerful like exoskeletons, these big suits of armor. They're used to fight these aliens known as mimics. Now, they're not necessarily the same mimics you see in, say, for example, like Dark Souls. They're not little treasure chests
with teeth.
No, but there's a lot of teeth and there are a lot of tentacles. Yeah. So KG encounters his first mimics. It just gets obliterated. Just gets fucking stabbed through the head, dead. First chapter. Second chapter, wakes up, hears the same news report, eats the same breakfast. Wait, hold on a second. I thought I died. Oh no, the aliens are here. Go and fight. Okay. And dies again. Wakes up. Here's the same news story. Eats the same food. Da 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 da. Then he realizes, oh wait, I'm in a time loop.
Oh, I see. So if I'm in a time loop, then I can get better and I can get stronger and then eventually win the war for everyone. Oh wait, there is essentially, I guess, is the Emily Blunt equivalent.
Yeah, Rita Flachaski,
who is much younger in age than Emily Blunt in the manga, and essentially,
she also has a way more cool name as well.
Yeah, way more cool name, and she is essentially a war prodigy. She's like Violet Evergarden, but without the mechanical hands. Like, she just wrecks shit, and essentially, these two characters sort of essentially, I guess you could say, band together.
They have to.
Yeah.
Because they're in it together. They're in it to win it.
They're in it to win it, and there are several twists and turns, and ultimately, do they save the day or not? You're going to have to watch the show, or watch the movie to find out.
Yeah. So if you already watched Edge of Tomorrow, you might be thinking, well, I've already watched this. There's really no need to read or watch this original series. I will say that the adaptation is very loose in the sense that some characters are very different from what they were in the original light novel and manga series, and the ending is also extremely different.
Extremely different. And we're not going to spoil it here, but I think... What do you think of the... Okay, without even saying what the ending is, you've seen Edge of Tomorrow, right?
Yes.
You've obviously read the manga. What do you think of the ending?
I think that they essentially just have it's a Deus Ex Machina. There's just something that they find and they resolve the mystery, and then boom, everything works out.
You mean in the movie?
In the movie.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, that's not how it plays out in the anime, well, in the upcoming anime film.
Well, we don't know yet, but the manga definitely plays out very, very differently. And I personally like the manga ending because...
Oh, personally, dude, like, no, it is de facto the real ending.
Yeah. Again, we're being very cryptic here because we don't want to say what the difference is. I just think it plays out how it's supposed to play out is really how it is.
There are, like, slight complaints I have with the manga, despite it being so short.
Yeah.
It's not really a complaint, but it's also just like, why is she there? Rachel Kisaragi.
Yeah.
The big titty lunch lady.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's gonna have to be other characters, other fluff on the side,
it's more
right?
It's more just that, like, there's so much, like, death and destruction in All You Need Is Kill, literally in the name of the title, and then it's like, oh, big boob lady here to serve my lunch.
Yeah, come on, you need a big hearty lady to serve you food and sustenance during the war, right?
I suppose the war effort needs titties. Yeah.
I mean, don't we all?
I don't know what's happening around the world in terms of wars, but, like, I think titties will be the last thing on my mind.
The mimics are also slightly different from the movie.
Oh, I would say that, like, the mimics in the movie are way more horrifying than in the manga.
Here, I would say they are horrifying if I was in that situation, but it's not horrifying
to look at.
And it's not horrifying to see. maybe, I don't know, when in the anime film they will have it in motion, then I'll be like, oh shit, that shit is fucking scary. Because in Edge of Tomorrow, they are fucking crazy. But the other thing I also want to say is that the other thing that is slightly different is how the time loop is treated.
Yeah.
Because to my knowledge, at some point, if you read the anime, if you read the manga, things change based off of what has occurred. Now, you might say, oh, isn't that what happens in Edge of Tomorrow? Kind of, but because the thing with Edge of Tomorrow, and Will mention Groundhog's Day, it's like you have everything happening in sequence such that you have everything memorized, such that you can then flip the script or change your fate, or you have time to get better. Well, what happens when people realize that all of a sudden, I mean, you've seen it in tons of time travel movies where things all of a sudden are slightly different than being exactly the same or what it was. And then sometimes those differences are a lot more major, and sometimes those differences are a lot minor. So I'll just leave it at that. But there's essentially a lot of reasons why the time loop mechanic is treated less of a plot device and more of a consequence of action.
I also like that the movie, the upcoming anime film, is only an hour and 22 minutes. It's much shorter than
like a 2-hour film.
Yeah.
Right.
113 minutes for Edge of Tomorrow, which, look, I think with regards to these kinds of time loop stories, yes, you do need enough time to essentially unfold.
Wait,
the
113 minutes, you said?
Yeah.
Isn't that almost 2 hours?
Yeah, that's almost 2 hours for Edge of Tomorrow. But the anime film is only 1 hour 22.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, anime film is like 80 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Which is like 3 back-to-back episodes along with like an EP and OD.
Yeah.
OP,
no, that's
OP,
exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to get at here is that like when you read the manga, and I suppose if you read the light novel, it happens very quickly. The story does not take all that long to build up and for you to sort of get into the motions of this loop of death and rebirth. So I think fans of Edge of Tomorrow really should give this a chance.
Yeah.
I think like if you liked Edge of Tomorrow, you really should get into the source of it and see like what birthed this crazy Edge of Tomorrow story. Because there are subtle differences, but the differences are enough for you to appreciate All You Need Is Kill just as much as you appreciate Edge of Tomorrow.
I think something that I want to emphasize is the teaser trailer is out and you can watch it, and immediately if you've read the manga, you can tell there is a major difference in terms of art style.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So for the first thing is that it is essentially not a guy that is the protagonist. Or at least I think it's not a guy. It's a girl in orange hair. But the point is...
then it's probably going to be following Rita's perspective. Then.
Yeah, maybe. But the thing that I want to emphasize is how crazy it is the art style looks so kinetic.
It's also very pastel.
And very colorful, which is not something that you would expect when you look at Edge of Tomorrow. And also, when you read the manga, you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if it's the exact same artist. It reminds me of, like, I just read Death Note, and I really like that art style. So I've decided to incorporate that into my manga.
It's like Blame.
Yeah. No, Blame is a lot more artistic.
No, I meant in terms of, like, you don't need... The absence of color is what you need to be able to accentuate the horrors of what happens in Blame.
Yeah. That's true. But I just feel like, for example, the character designs in All You Need Is Kill is not very innovative. It's not very, like... It looks very stereotypical, in my opinion.
Again, I had to say that's generally like a lot of mangas and animes, though.
No, but I'm saying in comparison to the teaser trailer, what we saw, like it's very different.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Yep.
Like I won't fault you for reading the manga and being like, "Oh, the art style is good. It's just fine." Whereas here, it's like when you see the teaser trailer, it's like, "Holy shit, what the fuck?" And also, the trailer is kind of bonkers. The teaser trailer. So that is all we've gone off of. There is no scheduled release date yet. But I'm assuming it's like 2026.
Yeah. Based on the trailer, I feel that, like, okay, when we were talking about this, it was very much like, what is there really to talk about if there is already a live action adaptation of it? This thing came out, like the original light novel and manga series came out over a decade ago. Is there really much to go off of in terms of talking about it when a lot of material exists for it? And the fact that, like, it's so vastly different in terms of how the trailer portrays what we're going to be seeing in the anime film, I feel that whatever you read for All You Need Is Kill, whatever you watched for The Edge of Tomorrow, you probably don't know what to expect with the movie. They made it very clear that it's a different approach, different art style. One thing that I feel that, based on the trailer, I feel is going to happen is it's probably going to be a little less gory.
Maybe. I think so, but also because of the teaser trailer, so I don't know. But
I mean,
in
the
teaser trailer,
the mimics are very different as well.
Yeah, and the protagonist does get eaten and stabbed,
but I mean, the absence of blood.
Yeah, that is true.
There's literally no blood in it. In fact, there is blood, but it's blackened.
Or
to
there is
soften
blood,
the amount
but it's
of
very
gore,
little.
To
yeah.
soften the gore of it.
I think one thing that I should commend the director or writer or producer of All You Need Is Kill, the anime film, is that, hey guys, I know about the novel, I know about the manga, I know about Edge of Tomorrow, okay? But we're putting the cart before the horse and telling you in advance, we know this, and we're going to do it such that it is going to be a different take, such that it is not going to be a waste of everyone's time. And it's going to offer something new and unique,
which I think is good. I think, obviously, if like the easiest thing would be to do a carbon copy. Essentially, what happens in the light novel, what happens in the manga, is going to happen in the anime film. But while it makes sense to do it that way, it would be the easiest approach. It is also like we've kind of already seen this, and like Edge of Tomorrow, whilst it does veer into a different direction, is not that different from like the original story,
minus the ending.
Yeah, like that's where the change of direction is. It also then begs the question, like, if you were to do just a carbon copy for the anime film, like, what is there left to wait for or expect?
Yeah.
So to have it done in like, is it a retelling? Is it just like different events?
To have it addressed, right? As in, hey, we know about all of this, but this is going to be a different perspective. Even if they're lying, at least they're saying the right things, to my opinion, right? Like, at the very least, there is a lot of ways to ensure that everyone probably has the same thought, so let's just address it right now.
I mean, it just gives you a reason to watch it, right? Because the fact that, like, they acknowledge it's going to be different. They're not going to be trying to reinvent the wheel and then just give you the same shit all over again. It's more just like, no, we know what's up. We know you read the manga. We know you watched the anime. You watched the live action already. This is going to be something you still want to check out. Now, whether or not it holds up, whether or not the actual anime movie is going to be any good, who knows? Because there really isn't much to go off of outside of the trailer and outside of, at least knowing what the general story of this series is. Not to mention as well, like 82 minutes for the film, it's it could be a hit or miss. Like, you essentially have to condense a full 2 volumes of story into like 75 minutes, because I'm gonna give or take like
10 minutes
music and credits and stuff like that. So I'm keen to check it out. I'm keen to see how it looks, simply because if it is going to be very different from how the original manga and light novel series tells the story, then at least there's like something for me to go in with, like, I guess excitement. I guess more sort of like curiosity,
and to see what is different and what is the same. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
I mean, whether or not I leave excited or if I leave disappointed, that only time will tell.
Yeah, and you got me in the theater either way, right? So you won in a certain way.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they show the movie in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Megabox.
Yeah, a bit of sad news. Golden Harvest, the big production company that manages a lot of cinemas in Hong Kong, yeah, they've been losing a lot of their cinemas because they can't get rental agreements done. Rents in Hong Kong are fucking insane, and therefore it's really hard to operate a movie theater because, spoiler, people aren't really watching movies nowadays, or at least going to the theater to watch the movies.
Yeah, not everyone is like us that goes to watch Haikyuu, goes to watch
I
the
get it though.
Eurocamp.
I mean, like when you're paying like close to $150 for movie tickets, that's like $20 US, which I think is also more than what you pay for movies in the US. I remember them being like $13-15. I don't know how much they cost now because I haven't watched the movie there in a long time.
But yeah, at the end of the day, all you need is kill. Maybe that is all you need, and that's it.
Bringing up the final ASAP recommendation. Takopi's Original Sin, based on the completed web manga series of the same name, written and illustrated by Taizen 5, obviously a pen name. Published on Shueisha's web platform Shonen Jump Plus from December 2021 through to March 2022. Now you're wondering, wow, that's so short. It's because it's only 2 volumes, a total of 16 chapters. So, awards and accolades, a fuck ton. It won the Excellence Prize at the 51st Japanese Cartoonists Association Award back in 2022. It ranked 3rd in the 2023 edition of Takarajimasha's Konoga Manga ga Sugoi list for best manga for male readers. It ranked 9th for the best manga 2023, Konomanga wa Yome, ranked by the Freestyle magazine. So on, so forth. Yeah.
Oh, it did get nominated for the 27th Tezuka Asumu Cultural Prize in the same year. I think that's a big one.
Now, well, big, but like not as big as Stats.
Yes.
In the first day, essentially, like as soon as it dropped, right, like February 2022, like 3 months after it debuted, the platform reported that it already surpassed 2 million views per day. It sold 41,277 copies in its first week, and the second volume in total had sold close to 200,000 copies in its first week. Basically, within 6 months of this manga debuting, there was already 1.2 million copies in circulation. That's both in print and digital versions. So the numbers are fucking insane for something that runs so short. I don't even know if I mean I only know the numbers for like Look Back or Write Me a Song. Just listen to the song
Goodbye Eri.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers were. I mean, comparable. Maybe.
I think Look Back is way comparable.
Yeah. So manga score 7.66, popularity 436, which is very fucking high. It's the highest one that we have for today's episode. So this is going to be a short adaptation because there will only be 6 episodes. So rather than being a seasonal, it's going to be an original net animation. It'll be premiering very shortly, just a few days after this episode releases. June 28th, 2025. It's going to be produced by Enishiya, which is the producer of the remake of Spice and Wolf, and you've also done some music videos for animes and stuff like that.
Just to give another update to the docket, because I didn't write this down, unsurprisingly, Netflix has decided to acquire the rights for this show.
Yep. So, now we actually have to talk about it.
Fuck.
So
okay, when I mean by fuck, okay.
So imagine you wake up,
yeah,
and bad shit happens,
mm-hmm.
and then a time loop occurs. Now we're not talking about All You Need Is Kill, but there is a running theme with these 2 series.
Is that why you put them back to back?
Yes.
Okay.
So, what is different about Takopi's Original Sin versus All You Need Is Kill?
Hella different.
So we start this off with a little octopus fucker. Basically, they're known as Happians. Why are they called Happians? Because they merely exist to spread joy and happiness across the universe. Now, this little fucker, Takopi, he doesn't have a name at that point, but this little Happian, get it? It's a happy alien.
I didn't even make that connection. Holy shit!
Yeah, he lands on Earth and finds out that there's some shit going down on this planet. Most people are not very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately for him, though, he does come across a young but not very happy girl named Shizuka Kuze, who gives him some bread and names him Takopi. So that's where he gets his name. So, feeling that he owes her a great debt because she was the first person to give him food and sustenance, he decides he's going to do everything in his power to make that girl smile again. Now that is a fucking impossible task because Shizuka is bullied by her classmates. Her dad ran out on her. Her mom is never at home. Everything just essentially fucking sucks for her. However, Takopi doesn't really seem to understand the gravity of the situation. He's not just naive, he's fucking oblivious and socially inept because he comes from a planet where such crimes and such pain does not exist.
Yeah, like imagine you might think, oh, crimes, murder, and all that stuff, that is a common occurrence in it's not a common occurrence necessarily where you live, but it's a common occurrence around the world. But this Happian, Takopi, or at least I'm just going to say Takopi's name, has no concept of this because that doesn't occur in where he's from. And by the way, he's like the size of like a little ball, by the way.
Yeah, he's a plushie, essentially.
Yeah, plushie. But so he's like trying to understand, like, well, why is the father like the type of logic is, well, if the father ran out, but you need a mom and a dad to have a child. Like that level of computing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but if the dad's not there, then how can you have a child? Like that's the kind of logic that Takopi is trying to struggle to understand, that kind of thing.
So it's like, you're alive, you're well, you're doing things for yourself. So why are you not happy? Why are you so sad? And he just tries to find logic behind these emotions
to understand.
But then he realizes that maybe logic shouldn't be applied. Maybe I should just observe their surroundings and observe their environment to really figure out what's been going on. And throughout his journey to understanding Shizuka, he essentially pinpoints, or at least he thinks he pinpoints, one particular source of happiness for Shizuka, which is her dog named Chappie. Chappie the happy dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so therefore he sees there's that link. Great. There is happiness that this girl can have. So I'm going to do everything I can to strengthen that relationship and really make it so that Shizuka's, oh, fuck, things have gone real bad. Really, really bad. What do I do? Fuck.
Oh, I have these alien gadgets from when I was in the Happian planet.
I got this little ring thing that you can put on. It'll make you fly. Oh, but these humans are really big. They can't fly with these things. Well, it's good. Oh, I have this camera. I'm going to take a photo to preserve the happiness that exists in this photo. But this photo also holds another power where I can tap into it and go back in time. And he's going to need it because he keeps fucking things up. Every time Shizuka wanders through her journey, is this really sad, depressing journey, and Takopi keeps thinking that he's edging closer and closer to putting a smile on her face, she just gets more and more depressed and ran through and broken.
Not only that, but people around her, because of this intervention, bad shit starts to happen. Or you know how in like time travel, like the original The Time Machine novel, where like I'm doing whatever I can to prevent this person's death, or try to prevent me missing the bus, or me trying to prevent, the building from collapsing. But every move I do doesn't stop the thing from happening.
And it's because the fact that in relation to time travel as well, there's always constants. That no matter whatever variation of the path you take in the past, it will always lead up to that one thing. And if that doesn't happen, then reality just collapses.
Yeah. And also the butterfly effect too, because, you solve this one problem might have caused another string of problems in somewhere else, or even somewhere around you to occur. And sometimes even time can't fix everything.
That's, again, one of the cardinal rules of time travel. Don't fuck with the past. And what does Takopi do?
Fuck with the past. And let me tell you, this manga was a roller coaster, man.
First off, when putting together this list, I just gave full reign to Jason. It's like, hey, look, if you have something you feel is worth putting on here, just throw it on there and then we'll check it out. So
this,
Takopi,
by the way, this was the first one of the 4 I chose.
So Takopi, I just read the blue. First off, fuck you, Jason. Not even a chapter in, I'm already like, wow, Jason, you sick fuck. This is fucking depressing. This is disgusting. So we don't really want to go that deep into what happens because, one, that's spoilers, and two, even if we were to just give you a snippet, that's already like 10% of the manga series. There's only 16 chapters.
Also, I think knowing how everything unfolds and how everything changes is part of the journey of why I think this manga is so good.
So when reading this, I wanted to like it, and I do like it. But I think my initial observation from reading it was, this fucking octopus fucker, man.
Yeah.
Fuck Takopi. Takopi, you stupid shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then as I kept reading it, I was like, oh, wow, I just missed the biggest point of why this fucker exists. He comes from a planet where everything is happy. So why would he understand what sadness and depression is? He would not. So he would just feel that, like, oh, if something's not happy, it's trivial. I can make everything happy no matter what I do. Oh, there's always a one-stop solution, a one-stop solution for everything.
Now, I won't spoil, like, plot details, but to give you an idea of how Takopi thinks of how it works, apparently in his planet, because there's a panel that talks about this, is if you disagree with someone, you take their happy card, and then they have to come and get it from you, and then that is the opportunity for you to talk, and then therefore you work it out and all is good. So all you need to do to solve unhappiness is to take the happiness card and then talk it out with someone. And obviously in the real life, that's not how it works on planet Earth. And let me tell you, it really is not the same thing. And some of the things that I have to say about this manga is that it's the polar opposite, no pun intended, of you and I are polar opposites in that nothing is happy-go-lucky. Everything is sad and tragic and broken. And sometimes the thing that you're trying to do to help ends up not helping at all. And there is no black and white. The people that you're trying to protect or trying to help may not be worth it, despite what the absurdity of that line that I just said.
Yeah. Well, whilst reading the manga, it reminded me of this game. You might know it, We Happy Few.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gave me that kind of feeling. So obviously, like, very different in terms of theme, right? So We Happy Few is like retro-futuristic. It's set in the 60s, following the fallout of like the Second World War. And you follow this character where they live in a dystopia, which is on the verge of collapse. Basically because the fact that like after the war, everyone is fucked up. Everyone is sad because of all the death and destruction and geopolitical stress, right? Mm-hmm. So what do they do? Well, we developed this new drug that makes everybody happy, no matter what. But at the same time, this hallucinogenic drug makes it so that whilst they are blissfully happy, they're also fully unaware of what's happening around them, which therefore it makes it easy for them to be manipulated, and their moral guide, their moral code is really fucked up.
Wait, that's what we when I remember We Happy Few, I remember like the constable, like clown face police people.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the game?
Yes, that's the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't get it wrong. Okay, yeah.
That is the game. So essentially, like for them, it's like we know the world is all fucked up, so we're going to put everybody in this trance where things are really good, but at the same time, it's like
it's not.
The only thing that's holding you together are these drugs. And that's essentially what Takopi is. Takopi is providing these really small, trivial solutions to be able to alleviate any trauma and pain that exists in this world. But for him, he feels that, like, I can just give them this thing, and it will erase all the pain. It will make them happy all over again. Not realizing that, like, you know, it's not that easy to be like, oh, you're heartbroken? Just find love again. Oh, you're depressed? Smile some more.
Yeah, that is literally how it goes in terms of Takopi's logic. And obviously, as you know, both of those statements that Will just made is not as simple as it is. And I think one of the things that is it's painful, but the characters, they go through a lot of shit. All of them. Every single one of them.
You know how, like, in the finale, I was talking about how, like, Bakurano is meant to be, like, super, like, dark and brooding and shit, but
this
really,
one is actually
this would be like it would make Bakurano like a fantasy world where everyone is happy.
I have to admit, I did not read this until I was like, oh, they're making an anime out of it, and it's only 2 volumes, and I heard it's really good. Fuck yeah, let's go. And when I read it, I was like, oh. I mean, this is really good, but...
The first chapter sets the tone immediately.
Oh, yeah, I don't even... Oh.
Because I was just reading it. I was like, oh, this little fucking octopus thing. Okay, cool. It's just going around. I thought maybe it's like one of those To Your Eternity things where like this weird sentient creature from an unknown world lands on the planet.
And then you see the double panel on the first chapter.
Yeah, I'm just like, fuck, dude. Wow, I really need to talk to Jason about this.
Which you didn't, by the way.
No, but it's like I just figured, like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna save it. I'm gonna bottle it up, and I'm going to unleash.
That is the polar opposite of what Takopi's original sin would ask you to do.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, this is like, look.
Okay.
To read this, I think the one thing I think, and I don't know if they will have it, but they really need to put trigger warnings for the anime.
Yes. Like, this is no joke.
You know how, like, certain episodes of, like, series where it's like, this episode will be dealing with the subject matter of unaliving and self-harm and all that.
Yeah.
And, like,
if you need help, please call this hotline.
They need that for this.
They need that. No. And I'm not trying to be, like, sarcastic. Like, if that just gives you any indication of how the anime and also the manga is, that's what we're talking about. It is really that heavy. Now, that being said, though, how the story wraps up, I think is really well. It's really well made. It's really well written.
What do you think with the ending?
Everything.
I think the ending could have been a bit better, but I also understand that because it was only 2 volumes, that there was only so much room that they had to be able to create a succinct ending.
And anything more, I don't feel like...
You don't need to make it more convoluted and deep. I think, like, it's already shown that, like from the get-go, like, there are series where, like, it takes time to build up, especially with like mysteries and even, for example, like sort of the Demon Hunter, right? Like the real big event of the 1 hour release, the 1 hour debut, didn't really happen until like the 45th or 50th minute, right? This, on the other hand, it's like you're not even reading for more than a minute and you're already like hit with the hardest fucking double panel I had seen in a long fucking time.
And then that's only the start, because you think...
And I've read Blame. I've read Blame. I've read JoJo. I've read JoJo. I've read Tokyo Ghoul. I've read Monster.
I've read those too.
And some of those double panels are like sickening. Some of them like stay with you for the rest of your life. This, on the other hand, is like, bro, what is life? What is happiness? I need to go to my safe space.
Now, when you say you don't like this, but you think it's good, is that accurate?
I don't want to say that I hate this. I think it's more just the fact that, like, I'm trying to see if there's anything I can learn from it.
No, there is nothing you can learn from it.
And that's what it is. So it's essentially like the biggest trauma bomb that will potentially hit the screens in like the last 5 years.
Oh, I mean, don't fuck with time.
Okay, yeah, there's that. But and also, if you are like, this is gonna sound super anti-immigration and xenophobic, but it's like, if you're gonna come to our planet, you better be good, otherwise you stay the fuck away from our planet.
Yeah, listen, I mean,
let's just.
Look, mimics came by too.
Yeah.
Fuck that noise. So
yeah,
hey.
but at least within all you need is kill. We made the decision to kill these fucking aliens because they they seek to destroy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They made their motive very well known.
Yeah, they sow the seeds of destruction. Whereas here, it's like this fucker just thinks that he's gonna be almighty and come in and save the day, and then realize actually he's super out of his depth. But he doesn't realize it because he's the most oblivious motherfucker there is.
And here's the thing: the title of the manga, Takopi's Original Sin, shows up at some point.
Yeah, it's not abundantly clear, but as you start reading past the first chapter and so on, you start realizing, okay, they couldn't have picked a more perfect title.
Yeah. And my God, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't know what to say, man, but like, I really like the manga. I think it's not like a 9 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10.
This is not for the faint of heart.
But it is not for the faint of heart.
This is clearly something that, like...
It's also understandable why it gotten a lot of accolades, because I understand why. It's not because they're using all these heavy topics as an excuse to be...
It's not a literary masterpiece.
Yeah, nor is people... They're not... It's done in a way that it is not trying to be like, oh, hey, look at me, Oscar bait, because I'm talking about, award bait, because I'm talking about all of these heavy subjects. Ooh, woe is me, right? But they actually talk about it. And I think because they talk about it in such a way that I think everyone appreciates, that's why it has all these accolades. And it really does not shy away from all of the nastiness in human beings and time traveling, if you will.
Yeah, don't fuck with time travel, and humans suck. Those are the two main, and also don't trust octopus aliens that come from a world called Happian.
Yeah, and never. And if you get handed a camera to take a photo, make sure that it's not a special camera.
So to sort of like double down on the I like it but I don't like it is that perspective. I like it in the sense that I've read it and I enjoyed it, and it's definitely got those themes where, like, I'm glad that they really spent the time to not necessarily explain it. They just straight up showed you.
Yeah.
What
show don't tell.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's one of those series where, like, much like when people were saying, like, oh, don't watch Bakurano, but watch Bakurano.
Yeah.
This is extremely, like, well, you really shouldn't read it, but you should read it.
Yeah. No. I completely understand that logic, Will, and I also agree. I did not expect Takopi's Original Sin to go this far, but it did. I'm glad it did, but I won't want to watch it or read it ever again. I'll probably watch the ONA, and then after I finish watching it and rate it, I probably don't want to watch it ever again. You know what I mean? Like, it will be impactful, probably. I will probably think it's a pretty good show. It's definitely a pretty good manga, but I don't want to read Takopi's Original Sin ever again. Like, no thanks. Like, it's good, but no thanks.
It's definitely not going to be one of those things where, like, oh, it's obviously an easy recommendation. You definitely check it out. No, it's one of those things where, like, people should check it out, but only if you
tick these boxes.
Oh, yeah. If you are emotionally prepared to embark on the journey that is Takopi's Original Sin.
So I had to put the manga, well, because it was on my iPad because it's digital, I had to put it down several times. There was a time where, let's say, the story focuses primarily on a different person. And that person, you see another side of that person. And then Takopi remembers something. And you're like, holy fuck. And that sequence was just... It was tough, bro.
I'm seeing a few reviews on my anime list of Takopi's Original Sin. And a lot of the not recommends, or the ones that basically downvoted the manga, complained that essentially the manga was too short. Which I feel like you're kind of missing the point of it being short. The reason why it's short, much like how All You Need Is Kill is short, is that you know that if you keep on going back and forth between time, that things just don't change and they only get worse. So why water it down with further explanation of why things are bad and why time travel isn't the source of all your answers? I think that the 2 volumes it has, and therefore the 6 original net animation episodes that'll come out in a couple days, it's succinct. You don't need to go beyond 6 episodes. You don't need to go beyond 2 volumes to really get into the feels of Takopi's Original Sin.
I'm just reading some of these reviews. The fact that one of the reviews are not recommended is because the alien is dumb.
I mean, that was my original thought too, but then I also then pulled it back because it's circumstantial. There's a reason why this alien is completely dumb and completely
unaware.
Oblivious. Yeah. It's not one of those things where it's it's just doing stupid things. It's a stupid alien, you know? It's no, it's because of the fact that it has no reference point.
No concept, right? So, I'll recommend, Will.
It's a begrudging recommend simply because it is not an easy read. But after reading it, you probably will feel a sense of accomplishment in the sense you made it through, in the sense that you made it out alive.
Yeah, it's not like you have to wear it like a badge of honor. And also, by the way, when I think some people, when we feel like it's a hard read or feeling uncomfortable or really dark, you might remember our take on the Darwin incident. And I would say it is not the same vibe. It's very different because one makes you feel uncomfortable and one is just uncomfortable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
One is meant to have all this tension and being Darwin incident. You learn all these things. Some of them are I would say some of them are even as atrocious or worse than what happens in Takopi's Original Sin. Yet the how the Darwin incident plays out, it ties in society, it ties in veganism, it ties in terrorism, it ties in humans versus animals, it ties in so many different things that it becomes way bigger than it is. Takopi's Original Sin is very condensed in not only 2 volumes, but also condensed in what it's trying to say. And also, it pulls 0 punches.
I think that's what it is, right? When you say it condenses itself into focusing on very specific topics,
yes,
it doesn't help the fact that the topics they're choosing to focus on are extremely controversial and crazy.
Yes.
It's not necessarily the best point of comparison, but it's like trying to recommend somebody to watch Schindler's List or to watch The Pianist.
Yeah,
or watch anything Holocaust related.
It's like, hey, Clanad After Story.
Well, that's different. The Clan After Story is if you want
Anohana.
Again, that's different because those things are you'd be surprised how many people on r/anime actually go and be looking for anime to make me cry. So many people look for anime to cry.
Well, guess what? Takopi's Original Sin.
But those are crying based off of relatable, somewhat relatable loss, somewhat relatable emotional distress. Whereas what happens in Takopi is fuck, dude. The 7 layers of hell. It's pretty damn close to being in the bottom. So that's why I can see where you're coming from in terms of recommending people to go watch Anohana or Clan After Story. Those things, there is beauty in loss. There is beauty in pain. There is beauty in remembering what once was. Whereas Takopi, it's everything fucking sucks. Everything is fucking horrible.
I just feel to a certain extent in Takopi's Original Sin, there are people that are in that situation, minus the sci-fi-ness of it, right? Minus the alien. There are people that are in broken homes. There are people who feel a certain way. There are people who get bullied. And the fact that they don't shy away from it is something that I think lends to it. You add in a sci-fi flair and you add in essentially a plot device to try to accelerate the plot, and you realize nothing is black and white. Everything is shades of gray. And Takopi's Original Sin is just a shit ton of gray. and it will make you feel very gray after as well.
There's 50 Shades of Grey, and there's shit tons of gray. Look, we're running around in circles in terms of like going over how fucked up Takopi's original sin is, and whether or not it's something that people should watch. Like, at the end of the day, it's not necessarily the most important of trauma bombs, but it's one that I feel it's worth stomaching the courage to go and read.
It's well crafted.
It's very well written, yeah. Not in the sense that it's like literary genius. It's more the fact that like it knows how to pick up on social nuances and really blow it the fuck out. It knows how to take small but serious situations and make it so that it's not like this person is sad for no reason. This person is wrong for no reason. No, everything is connected in the sense that like one person's pain is the result of someone's loss, and someone's loss is the result of someone's misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. And someone's misunderstanding is basically born out of a unfortunate environment, and it becomes very cyclical. Mm-hmm, and that's why like using the time loop as a mechanism in this story is very succinct. It's very, very clear that like it makes sense that it has to be a self-looping story, because it's not just trying to absolve one of pain, absolve one of the horrors of reality. No, it's basically like, you want to fix this, cool, but you're going to have to relive all of the trauma that you experienced, and it's never going to be any easier.
And when you loop and loop and loop, they actually learn stuff about themselves or learn stuff about the situation that makes people feel a type of way, man. I just don't know what to say. At the end of the day, I like Takopi's original sin. I don't love it. I think the anime is going to do okay. The manga is definitely an 8 out of 10 in my book. Will, what is your parting thoughts?
Yeah, it's an 8. I mean, like, I wish I didn't have to rate it, because it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, this is awesome, this is so good. It's more just like, it's impactful.
Yes.
It definitely makes an impression upon you.
Now, the last thing I will ask you is, what do you think the score will be
for the
anime? Yeah,
for the 6 episodes, it is.
I would say a 7.2 or 7.3.
There definitely is like a sense of caution in terms of like how we should rate this. Look, I think like if all is well and done, it follows the manga to a T, and it is I know it's going to be voice acted well.
Yeah,
because like Reina Uena, who's going to be voicing Suzuka, fucking good voice actress. And it's going to be important that she's going to be good, because she is pivotal to a lot of pain that you experience in this. I want to be a bit more optimistic, despite how pessimistic this series is, and I would say it's like a mid to high 7.
Okay.
You know, like 7.2. Like, again, I would not be surprised if it's that low, simply because it's one of those very divisive series,
and I think that's why it's that low.
Yeah, I think like same thing with Darwin Incident, right?
Yes.
Same thing. It's you're either going to love it or hate it, and just reading the reviews of Takopi's original sin, the manga entry, I could see where people are going to not like it, and this is going to sound really like elitist and snobby, but for the most part, the ones who rated it low or like just chose to not recommend it are the people who just missed the point.
Don't
completely.
Get it. Yeah.
Right? Like the fact that like they call out Takopi for being dumb. No shit. He's an alien that's never seen a human in his life. What the fuck is he supposed to say?
And actually, part of him learning is part of the reader also learning a lot of things as well.
I mean, look, I was in that camp too in the beginning. Thought this guy was a piece of shit, but it turns out, no,
you are the piece of shit.
I misread the situation. I really should have taken my time to understand why Takopi isn't very socially aware, because such pain and issues don't exist in his homeworld.
And Will and I have been harping on the fact that he doesn't understand like this concept of Takopi understanding human emotions several times, because him understanding the situation and grasping it and changing it is the whole story. That's the important part. That's why we are so, I guess you can say, insistent and obsessive and dedicated to really highlight the fact that Takopi has no concept of all of this stuff, and then learns as he goes, tries to change things as he goes, and it just ends up a certain way no matter what you do. Or maybe there is a way out, which you're going to have to watch or read to find out. Will, nothing?
Yeah, no, I'm just reading the same review of the person who said that the manga wasn't long enough. This person was talking about how, like, the biggest thing they don't like about the time loop is that time resets and everything, and like it just absolves everybody of anything. Like they call it the biggest, like, Deus Ex Machina, and I'm like, that's the point of it. The point is to reset to ground zero and start again, realizing that your resets are futile.
Yep.
So, Renacius.
Hey, thank you for listening to this episode of the Good Anime Palette podcast. If you want to, we would really appreciate you leaving a ratings or review on your podcast listening platform of choice. If not, we appreciate you listening nonetheless. If you want to contact us, you can reach us through our email, gapalette@gmail.com, GAPALETTE, all lowercase, all one word, using the handle @PaletteGood, capital P and capital G, all one word. And the website, we encourage you to check it out. Will is smirking right now. www.goodanimepalette.com, all lowercase, all one word. Music credits for this episode. New season equals new music. Our intro music is Waste My Love by Henyao. Our break music is Purple Clouds by Sara, the Illstrumentalist. And our outro music is Those Monsters, Do You Feel It, the instrumental version by Oi and NBHD Nick. You can always support the music artists that we feature by listening to them on Spotify, Apple Music, or your music listening platform of choice. And Epidemic Sound provides all of our royalty-free music. If you're interested, you can sign up using the referral link in our show description. Terms and conditions apply. What's so funny, Will?
No, I'm just looking into certain things that I really shouldn't be looking at. But yeah,
that just sounds ominous and sounds kind of weird. But okay,
it's not porn.
Okay, that would have been more normal actually. But anyways, that's me signing out. I don't know what else to say. Well, let's just stop the recording.